Hi, Gloria. I haven't seen you for so long.
I know. Thank you for doing this, especially today it's going to be 100 degrees or something.
106, I heard.
100, okay, whatever.
It's
But
even
it's
hotter.
cool, nice in the shade.
Yeah, it's nice right now.
Yeah, this is really a nice
Yeah.
place.
Well, I'm glad I'm able to tell my side of the story about the nursing home. I'm thankful that I can still remember some things.
I know it, I know it. And you know, don't be worried about it was 1979 or whatever.
Yeah, I'm
Just
not going to
think
worry
of
about
the big ideas of, how
that time. Mhm.
your group did this and did that. So, I was thinking, I haven't seen you for about 20 years.
Oh yeah, a little more than that, I think. We traveled all over the country, and then we moved down south near Palm Springs and stayed there for 14 years. And we met a lot of people, did a lot of fun things. Dale he got to teach pickleball, and he golfed, and I just did my thing. We had a good time.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. And I was so glad that I think you left me a card or note at ACC or something. That's how I knew you were back in town. And then I think you left the number and I called you.
Yeah.
So I'm
right,
glad we were able
right,
to connect
yeah.
that way. So, I know you've always told me this story about how you wanted to start this nursing home. And in his interview, Chewy talks about, this Chinese lady that gave apples and oranges to the residents in the nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was talking about you.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Can you tell
Yeah.
us about how that
Well,
started?
I've always been a dreamer, a thinker, a doer, and I'm a believer. And I believe in God and I believe in hope. And so for many years, this is my story, and I'd like to tell it. It's an old story. For many years, Dale and I played Santa, and I was this elf. And we would take white socks, orange, and an apple, and put it in a bag, and take it to all the different places, children's homes, and people that were alone. We were able to find a lot of places to go to. And we went to hospitals and we went to nursing homes. At the time that we went to nursing homes, there were only 13 that were licensed. So we could make all 13 of them. There was a nursing home near on Stockton Boulevard, across the street from what used to be known as Sacramento County Hospital.
Oh.
I think a lot of people might remember Sacramento County Hospital,
Yeah.
which today is the University of Davis Medical Center. But it was a small nursing home, and we had a method. We would call the nursing home. We let them know ahead of time that we were going to be coming, and then we would call them and say we're outside. Well, Dale had a bag full of all these little things in the bag, and he had a bell, and I had a boom box, a big boom box, and I turned it on as loud as I could, and it was the "Here Comes Santa Claus," sung by the little Chip and Dale,
Oh, yeah, the chipmunks.
the
Yeah.
chipmunks.
Yeah.
And we'd walk into the nursing home, and they all lit up. People would smile, and they'd be so happy. Well, Dale's job was to greet all the patients, and I would give them each a bag of what was in the bag, was the gift. So I walked towards the kitchen. We were almost through, and I saw somebody sitting in a chair in the kitchen, and it happened to be a little Japanese lady. I walked up to her, and I said, "Merry Christmas." And she looked at me and just kept showing me a bowl, a little saucer. And she looked so sad. And she kept showing me this saucer. It had cottage cheese in it. And I thought to myself, why is she holding this bowl with the cottage cheese? And I thought, you know something, she wants rice, not cottage cheese. I, I know they would never eat cottage cheese. That was something they never got used to. And this poor little lady, I know she just wanted cottage cheese. Well, I found out from the lady that was in charge that this little lady did it every day. After lunch, after dinner, she'd sit there, stare at this bowl of white cottage cheese. So I told her, the lady in charge, that I think she really wants rice. Oh, is that right? Well, she might have given it to her, but she probably gave Uncle Ben's white rice, I'm sure.
Yeah.
She would have never gotten the white rice. So that picture of that little lady stayed in my mind and heart for years. But we were still young, and you know, we had responsibilities, and we were working. We had our own in-laws to take care of. We had our daughter and other kids to help through college, so we could do nothing. But that picture of that little lady just stayed with me for so long. And finally, after we kind of slowed down on our activities, I thought, I still think about that lady, and I think we need to have a facility for Asian people because they miss the rice, they miss there's a language barrier, there's nobody to talk to, and it just really bothered me. So I finally told Dale, I'm going to ask a few friends over, and I did. Altogether, we had a group of 12, and we talked a lot about the nursing home. Oh, it's a great idea. That's something we really should do, but 12 of us, we put our money together, and we only had $3,700, $3,700. We're not going to make it like this. Well, it was Jimmy Yee, Harry Sin, Pauline Joe, Paula Leong, and Earl Wang was there for a time. And I cannot remember the others, and that's due to old age.
Oh,
I
no,
can't
no,
remember.
but at least you could remember almost half of them. That's pretty good, yeah.
So anyway, what happened was I thought to myself, what shall we do? And we had several meetings at my house, and we kept thinking and thinking. Well, we had $3,700. Let's go and see how Cairo, which is in LA, is doing. We met Ed Hiroto. What a gracious man. He showed us the facility. It was run so nice. And I looked at it and I thought, wow, what a dream. What if we had a place like this? And so anyway, he showed everything to us and he invited us into his office. And I had told him earlier that we probably will have to ask the Japanese group to join us in this venture. And the first question he asked after we sat down in his office was, do the Japanese and Chinese get along in Sacramento? I thought that was a strange question because we had Chinese friends and we had Japanese friends, and I didn't think anything of it. So anyway, but I kept it in the back of my mind, that question. I wonder why he asked that. I didn't realize there was any type of problems. So anyway, after we left his office, he had told us, well, you should do this and you should do that, and he would help any time. So we came away from his office feeling pretty happy, but so many unanswered questions. Can we do it? Are we going to make it? Well, we didn't know what we were going to do. But anyway, finally, I did have the meeting. We went to the ACC's meeting, And I told them that we would like to invite them to my house where we could have a talk about this project and see what they think. Well, Chewy thought it was a wonderful idea. He really went for it. And I noticed a few others did. So the day of the meeting, my husband, who loves to cook, had cooked 2 prime ribs and said that was going to be dinner right after the meeting. Well, some stayed, but quite a few just left. And then I thought to myself, there it is, that question. Do the Chinese and the Japanese get along well together? And I thought that was why Ed Hiroto asked that question. I had the feeling that they didn't want to work together with us. I don't know how the Chinese felt, but they didn't say no, you know. So it did disturb me, but I felt like we needed to do something. Everybody was for it, and I thought, well, you know something, Chewy's for it, he's the president, and the others that were there really felt like they were for it too. I thought, this is the beginning, let's see what happens. So anyway, now we're at the point where they I think that was, let's see, excuse me, I have to.
I wonder if I went to that dinner. I don't remember going to your house to dinner. I would have remembered, I think, but I don't know.
Well, we lived on Park Ridge Road, and it's just a block away from Land Park. And if you didn't stay for dinner, you didn't get the prime rib.
Oh, okay, I don't think I did.
You probably didn't. But anyway, what happened was we did get together and talked, and I thought, well, we had a beginning. And then we started to talk to some Japanese architects, and they were kind of interested. There's a lady that I talked to, and I cannot tell you, I think her name is Sybil.
Oh, Sybil Miyamoto.
They own the travel.
Miyamoto Travels.
Okay. I had called her to talk about something, and she said to me, you have to learn to delegate. Delegate? What's that? Anyway, she gave me some advice, and I did. I did delegate other people because I couldn't do it by myself. Mm-hmm. And she was for this nursing home. She loved the thought of it. She helped me a lot. I will always remember her words.
Oh,
that
I'll have to talk to Sybil and ask her.
Yeah, she probably has forgotten.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were meeting with different kinds of Caucasians, Chinese, Japanese. They were all pretty happy about it. And then we had heard that Chewy had a private office, and it was at Vic's Ice Cream.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Has his plaque right there.
Yeah.
Chewy Ito's office. Well, he and Angelo Sakopoulos had been meeting there, and they must have been talking about the nursing home at one time. And one day, I saw Chewy somewhere. He had a straight face, and he says, well, guess what? And I thought, oh boy, I don't know. Guess what? He says, Angelo Sakopoulos gave us the property for the nursing home. What? Gave us a piece of property? 3.9 acres? Wow. I mean, that is a beginning. Oh, thank you, Mr. Sakopoulos. What a great guy you are. Next door to it is the Hellenic Center, which is for the Greek. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He donated that to them. Anyway, boy, then everybody got more excited. The volunteers kept coming then, you know, hey, we have something to look at, and we have something to work on. So then we decided to have an introduction. We needed to let the community know that we were going to start this. Well, where do we go? I had gone to Crocker Art Gallery before for some reason, and they have a beautiful room downstairs. And I thought, well, maybe I'll go ask them if we can use their room. They have never loaned it out to anybody. And I said, oh, I just loved your room, and I just thought it would be so nice to have our introductory talk right here. And she said, what is it you're doing? And I said, we're going to try to start a nursing home for the Asians. Of course, anybody can come. It's not only for Asians. But I say Asians because I want to make sure, not only me, but everybody wants to make sure that the Asian people would get their rice every night, every day. They need their rice. And the lady was very nice. She says, okay, we'll let you use it for nothing.
I went to that. I remember that.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, I was able to get Hawaiian flowers and decorated. They were all donated. And we had tons of delicious food from all the restaurants. Nobody refused. Everybody was so nice. And then we had a lot of homemade food from all our friends, probably your friends, and maybe you made something too. But it was wonderful. And that night was very successful. A lot of people came, and they liked what they heard. We had flown Ed Hiroto up for a motivational talk. He was the speaker. I don't remember. It could have been Chewy, who was the master of ceremonies, but I don't remember that. But Ed was very, very gracious and explained everything. And at the end of the program, people were talking to him. In the meantime, a couple of my husband's friends, and you folks might know Dave Jan and Dr. George Yee.
Oh, I knew David Jan and what was his wife? Mary. What's his wife's name? Mary Bell? No, Mary.
Maybell.
Maybell. Yeah.
So anyway, I walked in while they were talking, and I heard Dave say, well, I'm getting a big dividend check, and I'm going to give it to he named the amount, but it was too big for me to even tell you. Anyway, he says to George, I'm going to give it to the nursing home. And so Dr. George E. says, okay, I'll match you. They kept that up for years. If George gave one, Dave would match him. And they kept on going like that for many years, and it made us happy to hear that.
In my mind, I always remember they said, we have to have some really big donor,
That's
make
right.
one big
That's
lump.
Right. Uh-huh.
And we were trying to think, well, what farmers or what do we know
Yeah.
that would do that?
You're right.
But I do remember Dave did that. And
in Bel Air.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many people involved.
Yeah, but
Peggy,
his was
do you
the big one that
Yes.
came in first. That's
Yes.
the thing that I always remember.
Yeah, that was so nice. And
But okay, so Helen, backtracking, when your group was meeting and this and that, at some point you decided you weren't going to go forth and you gave, it to ACC and you weren't going to quit. And ACC was the one that, kept going.
No.
And now when I think of it,
I
when
didn't
that
do
thing
that.
at the Crocker and all, that was part of ACC's. So I think that you probably chaired the nursing home, getting it going part of that.
I did.
Huh, that's what,
I
seeing
stayed,
that.
Yeah, I never gave it up.
Yeah.
I stayed with it until we had lots of fundraisers, and I'd like to tell you about the fundraiser that we had. It was one of the biggest ones. I was able to use the Buddhist church's basketball court. We turned it into a pretty little fancy restaurant, and we had a full house. I was able to get dinners very reasonable, and we made some money from that, donations. But anyway, what we had was a fashion show. And I was so excited, I called it East Meets West. And from the East came Mabel Tom, who is our great Mei Lee Tom's mother-in-law. Lovely, lovely lady. She had all kinds of beautiful clothes, and she loaned it to us. And I just now heard from you that Mei Lee was the MC, and she did a beautiful job. Whatever Mei Lee does, it's always great. And so anyway, then after showing the Chinese gowns, and we had the Japanese outfits, and I honestly cannot remember who loaned us the Japanese outfits. But it was also, they were so unique and so beautiful. And I feel like I really should have thanked that lady once, twice, many times. But I just can't remember who it was.
I bet it wasn't one single person,
It
because
could
each
be.
family has, like, a
It
set
could
of
be,
kimonos and all that. Maybe
Yeah.
it was several.
It could have been,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. Too
But-
bad we don't.
yeah, but that
then
was so
remember,
nice.
you mentioned what's the name of that place in
Oh,
Pavilions?
Yeah, well then the West was Madame
Oh,
Butterfly.
Madame Butterfly. Yeah.
And it belonged to a young gal, Denise Masanaga.
Oh, Denise. See, she's one
Denise.
of. I think she is the owner. She was a Takehara.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would, I could always ask the
Yeah,
Takeharas.
well, I did talk to her and she
Yeah.
remembered.
Okay.
And she had even so graciously gave a few of her models to use in that
Wow.
fashion show.
Yeah.
We rented the runway, we had a red carpet, we had also lights, and we had the whole works. It was really beautiful. The gals would have their clothes and show it, and when they got through and they were walking down the runway, we had some handsome men, like, I remember Roger Fong, Jimmy Yee, Ralph Sugimoto, and quite a few of the fellows that were waiting for the models to walk down the ramp. And then they would hand them a red rose, and after that they were escorted around the whole place and showed everybody the clothes up close and all. So we had a wonderful time, and it was another evening to remember. It was successful. We also had some big donors come out with money, and the San Francisco Lion Dancers came on their own
Oh, really?
and did their own show. It was so nice. I don't know whether the Buddhists liked all that noise in front of their church,
Oh,
but
they don't care. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but they did it, and it was really wonderful. I remember so many things about things like that. I worked hard, but I enjoyed doing the things that were happy. I love doing things that made everybody else happy. So, see, right now I've only told you my story, but there are so many others that really worked much harder. They had the headaches. They had the, got to change the plans, got to worry about the money. Take Francis and Wilbur Lee. They worked so hard because they really had bingo 3 nights a week. We tried to go there. The smoke almost killed us. Couldn't do it. But we had friends that called out numbers for years.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just wonderful. So it's people that would so dedicate. Thank you, Wilbur, wherever you are. We really appreciate what you did. And of course, Francis is still running around. So thank you too, Francis. So anyway, a lot of the volunteers have gone home, but I still thank them because without them, we could have never made it. and for all the thousands of people that have come forward. Japanese, Chinese, all the different nationalities that are helping us now. How wonderful, how happy. It should just make us so proud that we have all banded together.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, it's wonderful to see everybody working and happy and seeing so much. And really, it definitely took a lot of planning, a lot of fundraising, and it took a lot of effort. But everybody helped, everybody. And it was really worth it all. When you figure from a 99-bed nursing home to the apartments and the assisted living on Corporate Way to the now beautiful, the latest, the Maple Tree Village, look how far we have come. How proud and thankful we should be that everything turned out so good. You see the Japanese, the Chinese, and so many other nationalities of all kinds all working together. And I don't want you to forget that sweet little Banchan that was in that nursing home looking at that little dish of white cottage cheese. She could have never eaten anything else. She wanted rice. And I wish she was there to enjoy rice. But anyway, we now have others that are. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my story. I wish I could tell you. I have lots more to tell you, but I know that it's getting too long. But
No, do you have any other little story you'd like to tell?
Well, you know, one other story I like to tell. After we got the nursing home, do you remember Calvin? He owned a beauty shop.
They live next door to me.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What was Calvin's last name? I couldn't remember.
Hara, H-A-R-A.
Oh,
And Donna Alfoot.
Oh no, not that Calvin.
Oh, which were you?
No, Calvin owned the beauty shop on Freeport Boulevard.
Oh.
He was in the nursing home, in the ACC nursing home.
Really?
Uh-huh.
What's his
we
last
went
name,
there.
Calvin?
Yeah, but he owned a lot of people went to him. And we went to see, we went to the nursing home. It was Easter, and I was dressed as a bunny. I forgot what day it was. And I walked up to Calvin, and he looked at me, and he says, I used to shoot you when I was well. I used to shoot you. And I thought, oh, he really thinks I'm a bunny. And I thought, oh, okay, Calvin.
Yeah.
But he was having some problems. But I was happy to see that he was at the nursing home where...
Calvin, I wonder who that is.
But anyway, I'm still a dreamer now. I'm still a thinker. And I'm still a doer, but I'm a slower doer. And I'm a believer. My belief is even so much more in God and in hope. Because my dream came true. The nursing home was born. And I am so thankful. Thank you all for doing what you have done. You've donated. You've given your time. Thank you. We love you all for doing this.
Well, I think it was a total group effort, you know.
That's right, it was.
Little dollars here, dollars there.
Yeah.
But, you know, they weren't all great big donors, you
No.
know. So everybody did their bit, and that's what makes it really fun, you know, that we all have a little ownership in this
That's
thing,
right.
you know?
It feels good.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud every time I hear, oh, 5-star again? 5-star
it is
again?
nice. Well, it's nice to think that you're putting your relatives into a place like that, you know, instead of worrying about, well, are they being taken care of, you know?
I hope I'm not going to be putting myself in there. But anyway.
But you know that if you went, it would be
it would be fine.
Good.
It would
well,
be
and
fine.
then there's plenty of volunteers in there that if they mess up, they're going to hear, you know, we all know one of the staff or whatever, that, you know, they're
Yes.
you know, it's all going to come out. They can't hide anything. So that's
true.
what's great, you know.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I am very proud.
Yeah.
I'm very
yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
And I thank you folks for asking me to come and make this little talk.
Well, every time we get a phone call from you, I'd say, oh no. But now, after I talked to Dale, and I realized, all the health problems he was having. So I'm glad
Yeah.
everything turned out well,
Yeah,
and we
he's
finally got this done. I could
yeah.
sleep tonight.
Good.
No, 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 no. No, it
Good.
was fun just seeing you
Yeah,
and
it's not easy
visiting
to
with
get
you.
old, I found out. I've always prayed that I would grow old gracefully, but it ain't happening like that.
Well, who was it that said getting old ain't for sissies,
That's right.
So
Guess
we're not
I'm a,
sissies.
I don't know.
We're enduring it all, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So thank you so much.
yeah, but thank you, Ted, for being so gracious too, and I hope everybody enjoys this, and there's going to be plenty more stories, and they're probably going to be great, great stories. So thank you again for listening.